Just trying to survive and learn to love along the way by Foreplay on AO3. Episode 36, Chapter 36 of Statements and Silence. Tsukuichi offers him the front seat, but he opts for the back, sitting next to Izuku, who curls into his side, still focusing on his breathing. Shinsou sits on his kid's other side, looking all sorts of uncomfortable. Shinsou, are you alright? He probably should have checked on his student earlier, but seeing Izuku curled up like that, hardly breathing and overridden with any other thought, Shinsou gives him a funny look before answering. Why wouldn't I be? I'm not the one who... He cut himself off, shooting a guilty look towards Izuku. His eyes focus on the bruise around the kid's neck. Shouta can't wait to find out how he got those, but he almost rather not know. Maybe not, but you still had to watch someone threaten your friend's life. That kind of thing is scary. Shinsou gives him a surprised look, before glancing away, a frown on his face. I just wish I could have done more. You did more than anyone else did. You called me. You distracted him long enough for the police to get there. You saved his life. You're a hero, kid. Shinsou teared up at that, and turned his gaze out the window. Shouta pulled out his phone to text Hizashi. He should probably hear about this from him instead of his own radio station. Don't freak out. Villain attack at mall. Izuku is okay. The reply comes faster than he expected. There must have been a song on right now. Shit. Need me to get the rest of my shift covered? No, we'll be at the station for a while. Maybe you could pick this up afterwards. Got it. Tell the baby I love him. Shouta rolls his eyes at his husband's antics before another text comes in. Oh, yeah, love you, Sho. Love you too, Sashi. Now get back to work. Sir, yes, sir. Shouta huffs a laugh as he shuts down his phone, turning his attention back to Izuku. He leans down to whisper to him. Izuku, Sashi wants me to tell you something. Izuku peeks up at him, curiously. He said to tell the baby that he loves him. That gets a small laugh out of him. Izuku hadn't taken long to grow fond of that nickname, usually turning red every time it came up. Shouta could see Shinsou trying his hardest not to watch them out of the corner of his eye as they pulled up to the station. Tsukuichi pulls the back door of the car open for them with a small frown before leading them into the station. I was thinking I'd interview Shinsou first, since he was a witness. That's alright, Eraser? Of course. It'll be a while until Hizashi can pick this up anyways. You need a ride home after, Shinsou. No, Sensei. I text my mom and she's already on her way. Do you want to wait for her to do your interview? No, thanks, Detective. I'd rather just get it over with. Shinsou follows Tsukuichi out of the room, leaving him and Izuku behind in the cluttered waiting room. It's another 10 minutes before the door slams open, jolting Izuku from his light doze against his shoulder. A woman with striking purple hair marches towards the officer in the front desk, who in turn gestured towards Shouta. He braces himself as she marches over. Her look softens when she takes in the sight of Izuku slumped against him, and she takes a seat on Shota's other side. You Eraserhead? I am. I'm Hitoshi's mother. He said there was an attack at the mall. She sounds worried, and Shouta is quick to reassure her. Your son is fine, maybe a little shaken up, but he's uninjured. Can you tell me what happened? Shouta frowned and looked down at Izuku. He's watching their interaction warily, hesitant, clearly on his face. I'm afraid I don't know the details myself. You'll have to wait for him to finish giving a statement to the detective. She nods at that and turns away, thankfully done with the questions. 10 minutes of awkward silence later, has Hizashi following Tsukuichi out into the waiting room. His mother practically smothers him in a hug when he makes his way over to them. She starts leading him away, but he hesitates in front of their seats, giving Izuku a thoughtful look. Text me, okay? Izuku nods against his side, and that's enough for the other boy, so he takes his leave. Alright, Eraserhead, let's get this over with. He stands, Izuku following much slower, and they follow Tsukuichi. He leads them past the interrogation rooms, and to somewhere more comfortable, a plush couch sitting across from an armchair. I thought you might be more comfortable in here. Shouta nodded his thanks and led Izuku over to take a seat. They watch as the detective pulls out his notepad and a recorder, hitting play before setting it on the table. Alright, Izuku. I need to go over the events of the attack at the mall for me. And maybe answer a few questions? Okay? Yes. Alright, you can start whenever you're ready. Izuku sits a little straighter and clears his throat a few times before speaking. Well, my friends decided we should separate into smaller groups for shopping, so I was left alone with only Hitoshi. He said he needed coffee, and that I wouldn't like the crowds near the shops, so he went alone. Shouta silently praises Shinsou for thinking. The crowds near the coffee shop would not have been good for Izuku. Although, if they went together, they wouldn't be here in the first place. I stood there for a few minutes before someone came up behind me. He grabbed me and said he recognized me from the sports festival and asked for an autograph. I just wanted him to let go. But when I tried to move away, he just tightened his grip. Shouta knows where this is going, but he still tenses in anticipation of the rest of the story. Then he brought up the hero killer, said I was cool to get away. I knew something was up then because nobody knows I was there. I only recognized who it was when he told me how lucky he was to get to meet me again. Izuku is crying at this point, and Shouta just wants to hide him from the rest of the world and make all his pain go away. He put his hand on my neck and said if I tried anything, he'd kill everyone before a hero arrived. He started asking me why the hero killer was so popular, why everyone was talking about him instead. I told him it was because Stain had ideals. He had a reason for what he was doing. So people find it easier to relate to him instead of Shigaraki. Izuku takes a deep breath, hands twitching toward his neck. He started going on about All Might, and then he squeezed my neck so hard I couldn't breathe. I remember Hitoshi showing up, but everything after that is blurry until Dad showed up. That's a little concerning. Izuku covers his face now, clearly done with the story. Shouta looks up in time to catch Shikuichi's look of concern. Alright, I'll give you a few minutes to calm down. Nobody needs this room soon anyways. How about I go see if President Mike is here? Izuku nods, breathing heavily. As soon as the door shuts behind Shikuichi, Izuku turns and buries his face in Shota's chest. He's sobbing now, speaking nearly incoherently. I was scared. I thought I was going to die. Shouta holds him a little tighter at that. It's over now, Izuku. You're all right. Once Hizashi gets here, we can get home and hang out with the cats for the rest of the weekend. Izuku nods against his chest, quieting down a little. They sit there like that until Hizashi throws open the door. Izuku looks at him, startled, and Hisashi's face falls at the tear tracks on his face. He walks over to the couch and sits on Izuku's other side, pulling him into his arms. The drive home is silent. Hizashi sits in the back with Izuku while Shouta drives. Once home, they usher Izuku onto the couch. "Can I take a look at your neck, kid?" Izuku nods, sitting completely still when Sho reaches forward. He tilts gently his head to the side to get a better look. The bruises aren't too bad, but they look like they were painful to receive. "All right, they should fade pretty quickly. Why don't you go take a nap for a few hours? We can figure out dinner." Izuku nods, shuffling to his room and leaving the door cracked open behind him. Sho stays there, kneeling in front of the couch for a few minutes before Hizashi places a gentle hand on his back. He slowly pulls his husband up and onto the couch, pushing him up until he's laying down with his head on his lap. He settles a hand on Shota's hair before either man speaks. "Tsukuichi told me the gist of what happened. No other students were targeted? Just Izuku?" He just shakes his head, so Hizashi presses on. "Why Izuku, though? Do you think he knows about his quirk?" Shota's eyes snap open at that, and the only thing that keeps him from sitting up from his position is Hisashi's hand on his hair. "I never even thought of that. But if All For One is in charge of the league, it would make sense for him to tell his second-in-command. This makes Izuku a bigger target than we thought he was. Think this will be a problem for training camp?" "I already talked to Tsukuichi about it. He said he'd convince Nezu to change the locations. Also mentioned a special task force to go after the league." Shouta sighed in relief and shut his eyes. It's only a few minutes before his breathing evens out and the man is fast asleep. Hizashi did not plan this well. He should have grabbed something to occupy himself before pulling Shouta on top of him. His phone is buried in his pant pocket underneath Sho, and the TV remote is just out of reach. No way in hell is he disturbing his sleep. He's midway through mentally planning his next English class when there's soft footsteps behind the couch. He glances at the time to see Izuku stepping onto the couch and frowns. The listener slept for less than an hour. He refocuses on Izuku as he comes to a stop in front of him. He's got an uncertain look on his face and a roll of compression bandages in his hand. "Your wrist bothering you again?" A nod. "All right, give it here." Izuku hands the roll before pushing up his sleeves and handing his hand over too. He takes it as gently as he can and pulls Izuku a little closer to the couch with it. "Did it wake you up? Or keep you from sleeping?" Hizashi asks as he's working. Izuku twitches his fingers, and he can tell that he would much rather sign, but he speaks up anyways. "Kept me up. I tried to sleep anyways, but gave up after a while." Izuku's voice is almost a whisper, and he shoots Sho a glance after he speaks, as if expecting him to wake up. "Well, I'm glad you came to me. Think you can rest now that it's wrapped?" He ties off the end and lets go of Izuku's hand. The kid nods at him and shuffles back into his room, radio trailing behind him. Damn! Should have asked him for the remote. Okay, that end part, that should have asked him for the remote, that is such a... Give me a second, I'm fixing up the mic. That is such a mood. I know I definitely love that mood. Okay, so chapter 37 is of training and camp. Summary. Time for training camp. What will Class 1A encounter on their way there? So there might be a change of scenery of where the camp is. Do I think this is going to change the fact that the League of Villains are going to arrive there? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. If this goes in the lead of having a traitor, then no. And if it doesn't, then yes. It will, in fact, no longer have that attack. I really hope that there is not an attack. Izuku's gone through enough. But it's interesting to see. I like this chapter. It's a decompress after what happened. Obviously, we got to see Izuku and his family, them bonding. I think the best thing that I like is the fact that Shoto slept on Hisashi's lap, and Hisashi's like, well, legally I'm not allowed to move anymore. And that reminds me of so many times when Storm, I lay down in my bed and I get into a sitting position where I'm sitting against the wall and I'm on my laptop writing, and all of a sudden Storm gets up and then sits on my legs. And then I'm like, oh, well, looks like I can't move anymore. I can't move. That's the law of cat. Cat sleeps on you, you can't move. I guess for Hizashi, it's cat sleeps on you can't move, husband sleeps on you can't move, son sleeps on you can't move. So, poor Hizashi, he has it bad. I don't think he's gonna complain, but yeah. This was a lengthier chapter. It was a lengthier chapter, but I wonder what we're gonna get next. I accidentally saw in the notes a little spoiler where it's like, hey, this chapter has some mentions of violence, but it's just a recap of the attack at the mall. Hope you guys enjoyed. No. Oh, no. It was the other one where change of point of view, I think. I don't know. I read change of point of view somewhere. That's mall and panic. Oh, wait, no. I read the note for this one of training and camping. Time for training camp, where class encounter like, hey, this chapter, we have a new point of view. I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. It was so much fun to change canon, haha. Thanks so much for all your lovely comments. Enjoy. All right, okay, yeah, it's as I thought. There is a change of comments. I was like, what the fuck? A change of point of view, too. So, I'm interested in that. I wonder how they're going to change up the canon as well, if they do change up the location, which most likely they will. So, I wonder how that's going to play out. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my channel, and thank you so much for watching.